So I've already done a video about my most disappointing reads of 2021, and I'll put it up in the cards so you can go watch that after you watch this. So I can maybe help you in not reading some of these books. But to each his own. My opinion is my opinion. And if you did enjoy those books, it just wasn't it for me. Now, let's just get into the books that I fell in love with for 2021. We're going to start off with one of my favorite authors to date, and that's TJ Klune. I've started actually reading a lot of his books now because of this one book, and that is Wolfsong. This is a part of his Green Creek series. There's 4 books, and I decided, I was like, you know what? I want to read a tome. This is Achillean, and it's about wolves. So I had to, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It's so bad that I actually have the mass paperback and the regular paperback because I found out for Christmas I'm getting the complete series, and the complete series doesn't have mass paperback, it only has this. So I had to get a copy of this in order to have my whole series together. But yes, I love this. What it is about. I'll read the synopsis so you can just fall in love with it like I did. Ox was 12 when his daddy taught him a very valuable lesson. He said that Ox wasn't worth anything and people would never understand him. Then he left. Ox was 16 when he met a boy on the road, the boy who talked and talked and talked. Ox found out later that the boy hadn't spoken in 2 years before that day. And then the boy belonged to a family who moved into a house at the end of the lane. Ox was 17 when he found out the boy's secret, it painted the world around him in different colors of red and orange and violet, of alpha and beta and omega. Ox was 23 when murder came to town and tore a hole in his head and heart. The boy chased after the monster with revenge in his blood-red eyes, leaving Ox behind to pick up the pieces. It's been 3 years since that fateful day, and the boy is back, except now he's a man, and Ox can no longer ignore the song that howls between them. Yes. Yes. Just give it to me. This was so good. This had little bits of steam. It wasn't full-blown steam because the main plot of the book was their story of how they were coming together and the drama that was going on in their lives after they came together. It was so good, and I can't wait to read the other 3 books, but this is one of my favorite books of 2021. Then we have Elixir Rod. I think it's Elixir Rod. And The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes. I had the paperback of this book before. I read it and I didn't think I was going to like it, but I fell in love with the storyline of this. This is a story about a girl who is trying to make it in the music world. And when she was younger, this boy who she kind of had this inkling, they were working towards something together, found her and was like, yo, we can work this out. You can do music and I can help you. And he did. And they were thinking about building their future together, and then all of a sudden he just disappears. He just poofs. He's gone away. And she's just stuck living her life trying to make it again. And then comes the time, years later, that he finds her on accident. And she's not having none of it. None of it. She doesn't care what his excuses were. She doesn't want to hear anything. She didn't even want to see him, talk to him, breathe in the air that he was breathing in. It was just, I love that pain. I love that pain. It's so good. She wrote the pain that you would go through if you were in the situation, and I felt it, and it was great. So then, obviously, this is a romance, so they get together, but there's like a whole bunch of issues that they have to go through together because he's the manager of a band that has some drama in it, mainly a guitarist who he can't say no to a lot of the times and has a thing with, but he loves her. It's just so much. It's just so much drama and angst and love. I loved it. Growing up in dive bars all along East Coast, Tony Burnett's guitar was her only companion until she met Sebastian Quick. Seb was a little older, a lot wiser, and before long, he was Tony's way out, promising that they'd escape their stifling small town together. Then Seb turned 18 and split without looking back. Now Tony's all grown up and making a name for herself in Philadelphia's indie music scene. When a friend suggests that she try out for a hot new up-and-coming band, Tony decides to take a chance. Strong, feminist, and fierce as fire, Tony B and the Lilies are the perfect match, except Seb's now moonlighting as their manager. Whatever, Tony can handle it. No problem. Or it wouldn't be if Seb didn't still hold a piece of her heart, not to mention the key to her future. I'm going to harp on about this, but I had the paperback. I liked this so much that I decided to go find a hardback copy of this because I wanted it so bad. This book, yes, angst all the way and love all the way. You should definitely read this book. Andy Christopher's Not the Girl You Marry. I love this book. Love this book. I understand that this is not the type of book that people are going to like. I understand that I love this book because this is the premise for How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I love that movie, mainly because of Matthew McConaughey, but the premise is the exact same. Almost exact same. It's just so good, but it's the reverse. So this tells the story of a wedding planner who is trying to get bigger things. She's not even a wedding planner. She's like an event planner, a party planner. And she works at this corporation that does event plannings. But she's trying to move up, get out of being the party planner. And the only way that her boss will see her doing something else is if she does a wedding. So she starts to do a wedding event. She meets this guy who is known for making articles that are cute macho, that are just like fluff, but he's trying to break it into the political realm and do more hard-hitting articles. So his boss gives him the opportunity. Hey, you do your political piece, but you also have to do this piece on women. And so he's like, okay, well, I can make a girl fall in love with me, and then I'll showcase how I did it. That's when these two meet. And it's so, it's just beautiful. This is also interracial, if you could not tell. I was just reading it, and I was just like, this reminds me of a movie I love. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Give it to me. I want it. And it's so good. There's like steam factor in it, and it's not really like steamy. Like it's like a low simmer. And you'll understand why if you read this book, why it's a low simmer at first, because he if he does it, you gotta read it. You have to read it. It's so good. But yeah, this is one of my favorites. It was so good. I love the premise. It was great. I guess I should just read the back for you. Jack Nolan is a gentleman, a journalist, and unlucky in love. His viral success has pigeonholed him as the how-to guy for buzzy entertainment media company. Instead of covering hard-hitting politics, fed up with his fluff articles and app-based dating scene as well, he strikes a deal with his boss to write a final piece of resistance, the French word. How to Lose a Girl. Easier said than done when the girl he meets is Hannah Mayfield, and he's not sure he wants her to dump him. Hannah is an extremely successful event planner who's focused on climbing the career ladder. Her firm is one of the most prestigious in the city, and she's determined to secure her next promotion. But Hannah has a bit of an image problem. She needs to show her boss that she has range, including planning the dreaded romantic weddings. Enter Jack. He's the perfect man to date for a couple of weeks to prove to her boss that she's not scared of feelings. Before Jack and Hannah know it, their fake relationship starts to feel all too real, and neither of them can stand to lose each other. Gold. For me. It might not be for everybody, but for me, gold. Mahari McFarlane's If I Never Met You is a fake dating trope as well. And this is a story about a woman who has been in a relationship with her high school sweetheart for years. I think almost 10 years now. And all of a sudden, he's like, hey, babe, I don't want to be in a relationship. I think I need to branch out and find myself again. And it's not you, it's me, because I think I'm not in love with you or the relationship anymore. Then we find out it's because he's in a emotional relationship with a person at his firm. Oh, and they both work at the same firm. So they've broken up, and everyone knows they've broken up, and he got the girl pregnant. So, in order for her to showcase that, hey, I'm doing me on my own, and I want you to want me back so I can be like, no, she dates the playboy of the firm. They have a fake relationship that's turning a little bit into like, you know what? I can see us together. I want us, maybe. It's so good. It's so good. Her partner of over a decade suddenly ends things. Lori is left reeling, and not only because they work at the same law firm and she has to see him every day, her once perfect life is in shambles, and the thought of dating again in the age of Tinder is nothing short of horrifying. When news of her ex-pregnant girlfriend hits the office grapevine, Lori decides to take the humiliation lying down. Oh my gosh. Lori decides taking the humiliation lying down is not an option. Then a chance encounter in a broken down elevator with the office playboy opens up a new possibility. Jamie Carter doesn't believe in love, but he needs a respectable, steady girlfriend to impress their bosses. Lori wants a hot new guy to give the rumor mill something else to talk about. That's perfect proposition. A Fox romance, played out on social media with strategic stage photographies, photos, and specific end date in mind. The plan hatched, Lori and Jamie begin to flaunt their new couple status to the astonishment and jealousy of their friends and colleagues. But there's a fine line between pretending to be in love and actually falling for your charming, handsome, fake boyfriend. It was good. So, I have a whole dedicated video for this. And I'll put it in the cards above. But I love Jay Bell's Something Like series. Love it. Something Like it, well, the whole series is flashes of timelines between couples. and you find when they met, their drama, and then their ending, or if they actually ever ended. So the first three in the series are following the same couple, or should I say couples. In Something Like Summer, we follow Tim and Ben, who are in their senior year of high school. Certain things happen, and then they start opening up themselves to being together. But Tim is in the closet, and it doesn't look like he's coming out anytime soon. And Ben has to make the decision of, do I want to be in a relationship with a guy who will always be in the closet and always will have a beard, who doesn't know she's a beard? And that's the end of their drama. They end up going separate ways. Then Ben gets into a relationship with a guy named Jace. And Jace is his second love of his life. And they go through some hardships because Tim comes back into Ben's life. Something Like Autumn is Jace's story. And it actually, half the book, or more, a little more than half the book, is his story before he meets Ben. And then the other half is him going through Ben's timeline, but from Jace's point of view. You start figuring out that Jace has a love before Ben, and that love shaped him to be who he is in this world. And then you get the aftermath and the goings on of what's happening in Something Like Summer in Ben's life. And it's crazy, and it ends, and I cried. Yeah, it was just, it's a love story. Oh my gosh, I'm tearing up too. It's a love story with heartbreak and sadness, but it's love. Oh my gosh. Their whole arc is in here. So it follows Something Like Summer, and then Something Like Autumn, but only from Ben's point of view. Not Ben's, Tim's point of view. And I love this because even though in Something Like Summer and Something Like Autumn, Tim's kind of the bad guy, you get why he's doing it because it tells you from his point of view. And I love that. And then they get their happy ever after, or the HEA. Greatness. Last but not least is Something Like Forever. And this is the second to last of the end of the series. This is book 11. And this tells the story of, you can tell, Tim and Ben after everything's gone. And they're like together. And there is some hidden angst because there might be some temptation that Tim is facing. There's also them getting old and having to deal with a disease and death. It's just, I was crying a lot in this book because of what was going on and their feelings and how I knew some of these characters. If you only want to read the first three and then read this, you can actually just do that because this is their storyline. These 4 books, greatness, so great. And I was crying, I felt heartbreak, I felt angst, I felt butterflies and love, and this was it. These 4 were so great. And I really highly suggest you guys to read these because these are so good if you want a full-blown story from every point of view of the main characters who have something important to say in the book. And then the ending. "Till death do us part." So the next one is one I actually got rid of because it's a mystery. It's a murder mystery book, and I didn't need to hold on to it. I can't wait to read the second one now. And that's How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. This is a murder mystery because this is about a group of friends who, one of their friends who isn't really their friend anymore, ends up dying, and a mysterious entity decides to put them all on blast, saying, hey, out of the 4 friends, one of them has to be the killer, right? So then the entity decides to air out all their dirty laundry, trying to get them to say, hey, we killed her. One of us killed her. Did one of them kill her? That's the whole point. And I didn't see anything coming. I was like, what? No way. Oh, what? Yes, it was so good. And then the ending left me hanging because there's a certain person in this book who I really wanted them and her to get together. I wanted them to be together. And there's some secrets in there that go and coincide with some of the things that were happening to one of her other friends. And I really want to know that secret because he tells her in the end, and they don't say what it is. But there's a second book coming, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready to figure out the secret, and I'm ready to figure out if her and this guy are going to be together, even with the secret. Ooh, yes. Okay. And then last but not least is a story that I didn't think I was actually going to get into because of the characters. And it's a furry story. I know. I said it. A furry story. Crazy, right? I know. So, this is a story about a tiger who's a football player and a wolf who is trying to be a football recruiter, and how they fall in love. But there's so much going into it because the tiger has never known that he liked men, and it seems like he only likes one man, and that's the wolf. Oh, okay. Out of Position by Kyle Gold. I didn't think I was gonna love the series, and then I loved it. I bought once I finished the Out of Position, I bought the other 4 books so I could continue on the story, because the story goes around to how the tiger is a football player and he can't be actually out as gay, and then he finds himself put into a corner where he actually has to say, hey, I am gay, and the fallback of that. And that the whole 5 stories are the fallback and the ups and downs, and if him and his boyfriend are going to be together after all this, because they're going through so much together. Crazy. Didn't think I was going to like it, and then I loved Out of Position. So I think this was one of my reading challenges where I had to read something out of my comfort zone, and I did it. I fell in love. And I actually have bought other books by Kyle Gold dealing with the same premise of furries. And now I'm in it. But that is all of the books that I fell in love with for 2021. I hope I enticed you into reading some new books, especially some out of your comfort zone books. I hope that you have a great end of the year, guys. Come on, it's almost the new year, and we have to big up that. I hope to see you guys in my next video. I love you guys. It's been fun.